In this session, let's look at some of the statements that you can use in FlowLogic to control the data transfer and also to control when exactly a module is called. Typically, these default modules that are created by the system are not used for writing your logic. We use this status module to load this GUI status. So on the screen currently, if you see in our transaction, there is no menu, there are no function buttons, the back, exit, cancel buttons are not enabled. So if you want to have this menu options, then we have to load something called a GUI status. Since that should be loaded in the PBO, because that's something that code should execute before the screen is displayed, so that by the time the screen is displayed, this menu is loaded on the screen. So we handle that in PBO. So we typically write that code in this status module, and similarly all the user actions that are performed by the user on the screen will be handled in this user command module. Okay, so these are default modules we use for this purpose, and then we'll create our own modules. For example, I can say module get maktx, and in this module I'll write the selection logic to get the description based on the given material number. So I'll typically keep this code within that module. So I'll move it here. So this custom logic that you maintain, I'll keep it here. And in this user command, we handle those back, exit, cancel buttons typically. So I'll activate it. Now, in the previous session, we've seen that every time I'm hitting enter or performing any action, it is calling all the modules. It is triggering the PAI, and then it's calling all the modules in PAI. Then it goes to PBO and executes all the modules. So your code is kind of getting executed every time the user is performing some action. Ideally, we should restrict our code so that it is only called at a certain time in the FlowLogic. Let's see how you can restrict your modules. Also, another thing, if you notice, if I reload this transaction, I'll maintain some value here, and if you see, if I turn on the debugger, I'll press F6 till I reach that FlowLogic. And if I keep my vMatnar field, right now it's not recognized because I'm in some external code. But the moment I reach my FlowLogic, it has triggered this PAI and it's executing all the modules in the PAI. And the moment you are reaching this FlowLogic, the data is already transferred to my program. So whatever I entered on the screen is transferred to this field. So this is automatic data transfer. So all the data from screen to program is transferred automatically when you reach this PAI. However, if you want to restrict the data transfer till you reach a certain module, so I don't want this data to be available when I'm executing this module, but I want it to be available when I reach this module, then I can also control that data transfer. So the data is by default transferred by automatically when you reach the PAI. However, using a statement like field, there's a statement called field, I can restrict when a particular field value is transferred to my FlowLogic. So right now, this vMatnar is available when I'm running this code in this module user command, as well as when I'm reaching this code or this module. So if I want that vMatnar field to be available only when I reach this module, then I can use a statement like field v underscore matnar and then module this. What this will do is it will restrict the data transfer of this particular field till you reach this particular module. So now if you see, since I'm using this field statement, if I select this and turn on the debugger again, I'll press F6 till I reach FlowLogic. So now if you see, at this point, the vMatnar is not transferred, so it's still empty. So when I'm executing the code in this user command module, I don't have the data in vMatnar, but the moment I reach this statement field, that data is transferred. So now this vMATNR value is transferred. So I'm basically restricting the data transfer of a particular field till I reach a particular module in my flow logic. And similarly, if I handle some message, so let's say I want to show this error message here, and let's say if instead of this you say if size sub RC. So that means the user has given me a wrong material number, so I want to show one error message. So I'll say no material found, and I won't use this field statement. So I'll directly throw an error message in a module which is not using this field statement. So this is a generic module. Basically, we are not defining this module for any particular field. This is some generic module, and in that generic module, I am throwing one error message. And if I run this, and I think for 100 to 100, there should not be any material. So I'll click submit. Oh, it is there. So let me change it to some XYZ. So this material should not exist. So if I select this and click submit, it is throwing this error message, but if you notice, all the fields on the screen are input disabled. So there is no way for me to correct my error, right? So if you plan to show any error messages or any validations, then you have to mandatorily use this field statement by telling the system that in this particular module I'm handling the field. You can include any logic for processing that particular field in that particular module. So we generally use this field statement for such purposes where you want to validate the fields or you want to process a particular field. Then we use that field statement and call a module where you typically handle some field related validations in this module. So now if I use this field statement and throw an error message, so you can see it's showing the error message, but that particular field is input enabled and remaining fields are input disabled. When we discuss selection screens later, you'll also notice there are few selection screen events like add selection screen on field and add selection screen on block. So this is basically working like add selection screen on field. So you'll understand that when we haven't discussed the selection screen events yet, but typically this is what that event will do. So later when we talk about selection screens, we'll be able to relate that event to this field statement. So if you want to show any error messages in your module, then you have to mandatorily use that field statement to handle the field validations. Now let's say we are working based on material number and language, and when I throw this error, I want both this material number and language to be input enabled. So I want to work with more than one field together. With field statement, you can only use one field. However, if you want to handle more than one field, then we have to use this chain statement. So I will say chain field this, then field v underscore class, then module this, and then you say end chain. So whatever fields you keep in this end chain will be treated as related fields. So any validations you are performing will be applied for all these fields together. So now since I group these two fields into one, when it throws an error, the system will assume that these two are related, so it will input enable both the fields. So now if I say this and submit, you see both those fields are input enabled, the remaining fields on the screen are input disabled. So if you want to relate this to a selection screen event, this works like add selection screen on block event. But don't worry about that, we haven't discussed those selection screen events yet. We'll be discussing that in a later session. So this is how you can control multiple fields. So this field statement basically restricts the data transfer till you reach this module. So if you want to use just one field, use the field statement. But if you want to use multiple fields together, then you have to use this change statement. So I'll comment this for now, change statement. And this field statement is basically controlling the field, the data transfer and field validations. But this module will still be called every time the PAI is triggered. So if I keep my breakpoint on this select statement or on this when statement, on this case statement, and execute, every time I hit enter, my module is called. So the field statement is only restricting the data transfer and not the module call. The module is still called. Earlier I had pencil as the value that it called that module. Now I have the same value, but it still calls this module. Okay, so I'll make a couple of changes. I'll remove this mandatory option for this material number. Instead of required, I'll say possible, and we'll also remove this list box for this. So I'll keep it as a normal field. Now, if I want to restrict this module call, then we have these two statements, on input and on request. So if I say on input, then this module will be called as long as this field is not empty. So I still have my breakpoint for this module here. So if that module is called, it should stop at the breakpoint. With empty field, if I click on submit, it is not stopping at the breakpoint because that module is not called because this field is empty. However, if I select a value and click submit, then it is calling that module. So when you use on input, it will call this module as long as the field is not empty. But if the field is empty, then it will not call the code in that module because it doesn't make sense executing the select if the user has not entered any material number, right? So if you want to restrict your module call only when the field is having some value, then you use on input. However, this will call the module as long as this field is having some value. So right now I have pen. I'll click submit. It is calling the module. And again, if I click submit, it will still again call the module. So it will only check if the field is empty or not empty, and it will call the module if it is not empty. However, sometimes we have a situation where if I give some value, then in the first instance we are executing the select to get the data. But after that, I don't want to execute that select as long as this value is the same. But if the user selects a different value, then I want to execute the select. So for that, we use this on request. If I say on request, then it will actually compare the value, the current value with the previous value. If it is different, then it will call the module. So, for example, I'll select this pen and submit. It is calling my module. And as long as this is pen, if I click submit, it won't call that module again. But if I change it to something else and click submit, it will call this module again. Okay. So on input will check if the field is empty, initial or not initial, and call the module if it is not initial. Whereas on request will check if this field is having a new value. As long as the value is the same, it will not call your module. Similarly, if you are using multiple fields, so if you say field, chain and chain, then you have to use, if if you see, I'm using a period for each field, so this statement ends here. Whereas if for only field, we don't use the period after the field statement, but if you're using chain and chain, you have to use the period after each field statement. For chain and chain, instead of on request, we say on chain request or on chain input. It works the same way. If I say on chain request, then it will check both these fields. As long as one of them changes in value, it will call this module. If both are having the same value compared to the previous PBO event, then it will not call this module. If I use chain input, then it will check if both are empty. If both are empty, then it will not call this module. But if one of them is having some value, then it will call this module. Okay. How it works is same, only the syntax is different. If you are using chain and chain, you have to say on chain input and on chain request. Okay. And right now, when I select a value from the drop down, or when I click on the checkbox or a radio button, it doesn't trigger PAI. So you have to select this value and click submit or hit enter. It doesn't trigger PAI on its own, right? But if you have these list boxes, check boxes, radio buttons, and you want to trigger PAI automatically the moment the user selects some value, so that the user need not perform another action. So the moment I select this material number here, I want to display the description below. Then it should trigger PAI and execute my code. Right now, I have to click on the submit for it to trigger PAI. So if you want to automatically trigger PAI for these buttons, all you have to do is maintain some function code for that. So for this material number list box, if I maintain some function code, let's say some function code. Similarly for this checkboxes, let's say I'll maintain some function code. So for checkboxes, you have to maintain individually for each checkbox that you want to trigger PAI for. And for radio buttons, you just maintain for one. It's for group, you maintain one, it's okay. You don't have to maintain for each radio button because all of them are in a group anyway. So now I maintain some function code for this checkbox, radio button and my drop down box. And if you see this, the moment I select this now, you'll notice it is triggering PAI, calling my code, and it should display the description. It's not displaying the description because I still restricted the code to check for submit action, but it is triggering PAI. So the moment I select the drop down, it is triggering the PAI. Right? So since I said when submit, so it is executing this code only when you click the submit button. Similarly, the moment I select this checkbox, it will trigger PAI. Just because I maintained the function code. And same for radio buttons. Okay. So these are few statements that you can use in your flow logic to control when the data is transferred to your program, and also to control when a particular module is called in your flow logic. Okay. In the next video, we'll understand about this GUI status, and we'll see how you can load your own GUI status so that we'll add some buttons on our screen. So right now, there's no option for me to leave this transaction. These back buttons, exit buttons are all disabled. So we'll see how you can work with this GUI status to add these buttons to our screen, and we'll also maintain some title. So see you in the next video.